Hello everyone, I'm Mark Cook, CEO of Shiny Shoe, and we are the creators of Monster Train. Welcome to our first developer stream of 2021, and today it is going to be a doozy. We've got a lot of stuff to announce. We've been hinting, back in December of 2020, we've been hinting a bit about our upcoming DLC. We've shown a little bit of the content, we've shown some of the new Wormkin clan, we've talked about some of the new cards in the existing clans that will be added in the DLC. We've looked at some of the artifacts. But today, we are going to officially announce the name. We're going to talk about all of the features that are going to be in this upcoming DLC. And the public test, which we've done for all of our previous updates, is going to start tomorrow. So, let's just dive in. I'm super excited to announce Monster Train, the last divinity. Sorry for the silly voice. Monster Train, the last divinity. This is our big DLC. I want to call it an expansion pack. It feels like an expansion pack. It's just ram-packed with content. So of course in this image, this is our key art for the release. You can see a number of characters from the new Wormkin clan. It's the 6th clan coming to Monster Train. But there's also some stuff going on in the upper right side that we haven't really talked about much yet. And we're going to start diving into some of these other new things. Some new forces on the angelic side over there. Yeah, so just really quickly, even before we jump over to the game, I'm going to try to give like a quick, concise overview of all of the things that are coming in this update, in the last divinity. All right, so the Wormkin clan, obviously it's a brand new clan, 6th clan, full set of cards, full set of artifacts, bunch of new gameplay mechanics, a number of unique triggers. There's the whole charged echoes, which we've seen on stream a few weeks ago, and if you haven't seen that, you'll see it in just a few minutes. A brand new kind of clan core mechanic that's different than anything that's come before. We are adding new rare cards in each of the 5 existing clans. We are adding 11 new general artifacts that can show up in any run. So just to add additional variety, we looked at those a stream or two ago. There's my cat meowing in the background. He likes the general artifacts. We are adding new Concealed Caverns events. There's quite a few of these. I know our dedicated players of Monster Train certainly and understandably wanted to have even more variety there. So this DLC, The Last Divinity, is adding a lot more. So these are some of the things we've talked about those a bit. Now let's start jumping into the things that we haven't talked about at all yet. So there's a brand new currency in the game. They're called shards. You can interact with them, but unlike gold, you gain benefits when you gain shards. And there are new places on the map that you can visit during a run to interact with these, and I will be showing those very soon. Now, these shards are important because as you gain benefits for taking them, though, you also face more challenging enemies as you take on these shards. So the more shards that you have, the harder the game is going to be. However, your deck should be stronger. Your deck and unit should be stronger by taking those on. Each ring of hell has a new map node that specifically interacts with this new kind of shard currency. We'll look at those in a second. And to trigger the brand new final battle, that's who this guy is in the upper right corner of this key art image here. That's the last divinity. That character is called the last divinity. If you want to fight the last divinity, who is essentially the true final boss, you need to have enough shards by the time you defeat Seraph for that battle to trigger, basically. By the way, I'm happy to take questions as I go through this. I see that there's one right now. Let me pull this window over here. Our Drend asks, will you be announcing the price during the stream? No, that is one thing that we will not be announcing today. It's coming soon. We're talking about it. Like I've said before, it's going to be, I think, in line with what people will expect for a major addition to the game. And we'll be looking at some of the other mechanics in just a moment. So yeah, speaking of shards, this is one of the biggest systemic changes that I think is going to add an enormous amount of additional kind of strategic options to the player and like theory crafting and thinking about what kind of builds you want to do with your deck. one of the new things that you can do that gives you shards when you accept this reward is you can synthesize 2 units together. You can combine them. So, what does that mean? I always love jumping back to this image. Deep thoughts. What does synthesizing units together really mean? So basically, every single unit in the game has a uniquely defined kind of unit synthesis effect. And then you can sacrifice that unit, essentially purging it from your deck, and then you can combine it into another unit. You can only do that once. Like the unit that receives the synthesis effect can only receive any one synthesis effect during a run. But then you can basically come up with even crazier combinations because there's like over 100 units in the game, if I remember correctly, and every single one has a unique synthesis effect. So we'll look at some of the details of specifically how some of that stuff works in just a minute. All right. What else are we adding? There's some new scoring changes that are associated with the DLC and the shard system. So depending on how many shards you have, the more shards you have, the more points you get because shards make the game harder, basically. So it's like it increases the power of your deck, but it also increases the power of the enemies. So you want to try to balance that out. You don't want to take on too many shards. If you take on too many, you're liable to get crushed. There's a new type of card mastery. There's like a bunch of changes to the logbook to support the new clan and the new DLC elements. So there's new card mastery associated with defeating the last divinity, final boss. So we call it divine mastery. So if you've already mastered all the cards, well, if you really love the game and you want to prove your true metal against the new boss, you have to divine master all the cards now, which gives you kind of like a holographic stamp on the card in addition to the rest of the effects. There's 10 new mutators. There's 5 new expert challenges. And we have additional unlockable card frames that are based on some of the mechanics specifically within the last divinity. So there's more mastery card frames that you can unlock. All right. I think that's a good high-level overview of everything that's going to be in there. Zombie Gamer Dude says, will there be more expert challenges? Yes, I just said that. So yeah, there's 5 more. They use some of the new mutators that I just mentioned. Junkmaster 10, is the synthesis slot different to the upgrade slots? Yes, it is. So why don't we go take a look at the game now, and we can start poking around at this stuff and see kind of how it all works. Let me move my windows around here, and we're going to jump over. All right. So here we've got good old Monster Train up. But let's take a look here. There's something new here in the upper right corner. There's a toggle. It says the last divinity. So once you buy the DLC, this will be enabled automatically. But for now, I have it off on purpose just to show how it kind of toggles and changes. So when you enable the last divinity, boom! There's a nice big change to the main menu. The Wormkin clan has all these crystals that kind of power them up, and so we wanted to bring some of that theming into the main menu. And one of the reasons why we have this toggle here, even for owners of the DLC, is if you want to play multiplayer, this has come up in the past, we've bifurcated multiplayer into basically owners and non-owners for the daily challenge, for Hell Rush, for everything. So if you wanted to play, there's like 2 daily challenges per day now, basically. There's the DLC daily challenge, the last divinity daily challenge, and then there's the normal one. And if you wanted to play both and you own the DLC, you can play both by toggling it on and off. So that's an option available to you. Eternal Mage is the new content available at all Covenant levels. Yes. And there have been some changes to the Covenants. There are not new Covenant levels, but some of the Covenant levels have changed. If you own the last divinity, there will be some additional changes that affect the kind of difficulty ramp of the last divinity content in the existing Covenant levels. Fun Jeremy, question. You mentioned the DLC stuff will have an entirely new logbook page. How will that affect the clan progress page? Will Wormkin progress just be on an entirely new page? You got it absolutely right. So yes, there is an entirely new logbook page for the last divinity content. In fact, I can show it to you right now. Why don't we just look at it real quick? So when you go, whoops, wrong page. You go here. This is the existing one. There's essentially no changes to this page. This was for the base game. And then we've got a click here, a little button. You can click this and you can go and look at the last divinity, which tracks your Wormkin clan progress. It tracks your kind of wins here. It tracks your normal card mastery. These are the new cards. There was one new rare card per clan. Those are also, and the original 5 clans, excuse me, those are also tracked on this page. There are 4 new clan list cards. It tracks your divine card mastery here. And then we've got this big matrix of things here. This is your divine victories. So this is defeating the last divinity on a run, and which combinations have you done that with. So yeah, there's a lot of new stuff to track and try to accomplish. So the new, like, I've completely mastered everything in Monster Train means completely filling out this base game page and then completely filling out this new Last Divinity page in the logbook. All right. Grawl Taj 111000. Are upgrades from synthesized creatures carried over? No, I don't think so. So the unit that receives the synthesis upgrade does not get the normal upgrades from the card that's coming over. So you have to pay attention to that as you're kind of planning out your strategy. Lilch. Will there be new achievements? As of right now, no, unfortunately. And I know that's not an answer some people are going to want to hear, but it's really just comes down to the complexity of trying to manage that on all the different platforms we are now trying to ship the game on. So we're focusing our time instead on just trying to make all of the content in this as awesome as it possibly can be. So let's look at a run. Let's look at a run and see what that's like. So standard run, start. Sorry, my cat's just going ham now. Okay, so here we are at our clan select screen. We've talked about the Wormkin. This is the Spine Chief here. This is the first of the 2 champions. There are 2 champions. Some people have asked that in the past. There is an exiled champion. We haven't shown that yet, but since we're running a public test starting tomorrow, we might as well show it. I'm not going to play it, so if you want to check out the exiled champion for the Wormkin soon, you can check it out tomorrow. But I'll show him real quick. It's the Echo Right. I love this little guy. Look at him. He's like riding on a cool crystal motorcycle. Looks awesome. All right, but we'll go with the Spine Chief for this particular stream. Like I said, there are 10 new mutators. I don't remember what they all are off the top of my head, so you'll have to look through here. There's so many mutators now. There's, I think, almost 90. There are 5 new expert challenges, which are the 5 here down at the bottom, starting with Brains over Brawn. You can see some of the new things here, like Make It Count has a new mutator called Early Lead, starts with Improved Firebox and Lost Luggage, one of which is a new artifact. Anywho, and there's some stuff that interacts with, like this War is Hell. This interacts with the new content in the Last Divinity. That is the shard icon. Oh my goodness, please stop meowing. I'm streaming. Cat. Hero's Burden. Gain plus 20 shards after each battle. So we'll see how that works in just a second. So let's just start the run. Could you please stop meowing? All right, so we're not going to look in a ton of detail at the Wormkin mechanics right now. What I want to focus more on is showing off how the new shard interactions work. So you can see that there's a new kind of node here. If I'm not actively petting my cat, he just keeps meowing. All right, I'm just going to try to pet him and stream at the same time. All right, so we've got the Divine Horde here. Gain an artifact and 15 shards. So normally, when you start a run and you're in Limbo, you've got the Dark Forge and you've got Herzl's Horde. But now you can take another artifact here. But it comes with the kind of, pros and cons. Getting 15 shards is going to make the first battle in the game harder. So I'll just take it. We'll see. We're going to get 3 options from the Divine Horde. So we got Wing Steel, Wing Clippings. These are 2 existing artifacts. And Golden Vault is a new artifact. And it's hard to stream and pet a cat at the same time. Golden Vault is a new artifact that does this. Let's read it. As long as you have at least 25 gold, lose 25 gold when you take pyre damage in combat instead of taking damage. So you can trade money for kind of damage shield, essentially. Let's just take it for fun. But we're not going to play a normal run here. I'm going to use cheats and so on to kind of just skip through and show off the content. You'll be able to play plenty of normal runs in the public test once that comes live. All right, so cool. Now you can see here there's a new element in the HUD. This is our pack shards. The more pack shards you collect, the harder the enemies you face will be. Collect 100 before the end of the run to unlock a final battle. So that's how you battle the last divinity. A lot of people want to see Cat. All right, let's pause it. Okay, so we're talking about pack shards. Okay, get Cat on the stream. He's been on the stream before. Okay, Cat, maybe this will shock your system enough to chill out. All right, this is Chief. Say hi. You're not going to meow now that you're on camera? Stage fright? Okay, that's my cat. That's who's been meowing nonstop. All right. He wants to go. He is not a lap cat, for sure, so... He likes his pets, though. All right. Let's jump back to the game. Okay. So, here we are. Let's go into battle, because the battle intro is going to show something. Now that we have 15 pack shards, you can see, actually, that it already changed color a little bit. It was kind of white around the border, and now it's yellow. There's like a threat level indicator. We're just going to ignore the rewards because, like I said, we're not playing a real run right here. Just showing off some new stuff. So, okay. There's a new element here. Threat level. Pack shards threat level 2. As you gain more shards, more enemies before the boss will be upgraded, and the boss itself will grow stronger. This includes bonus attack, health, status effects, and abilities. So, essentially, every enemy in the game has, hand-designed, like, what happens at different threat level kind of settings to it so that they are more threatening to you. This is the downside of trying to take a lot of pack shards. You can definitely kill yourself, so to speak, by taking too many pack shards too quickly in a run. So it is a bit of a balance. Like if you want to fight the last divinity, you obviously want a really strong deck because the last divinity is a challenging boss, and we'll look at how his mechanics work in just a few minutes. This cat, oh my goodness. But we also it also upgrades like kind of the normal battles as you go. So you have to be careful. You want to take enough to fight the last divinity, but you don't want to take too many. Let's take a look. See if we get any. So the visuals of this we are still working on, but here's an example of the discipled foot soldier. So he's got this star next to him. And the star means that it has been upgraded from the pack shards. So the change here is you can see the stats. If you're familiar with the stats of this enemy, the stats are higher, and it's got multi-strike. So it's a significant increase in threat for the discipled foot soldier that you would normally not see had I not taken that upgrade. Captain Hardship asks, can you play the new clan when not in shard mode? You need to have the Last Divinity DLC enabled to play the Wormkin, but you don't have to accept any packed rewards at all, which essentially will do what you're saying. So if you just never accept any of the rewards that lead to gaining pack shards, it will play out just as a normal run would. You'll never see these types of enemies. You won't fight the Last Divinity. So it's really up to you to opt in to whether or not you want to try to go for the Last Divinity or take on these extra rewards. All right, so I'm actually just to show off more of the new stuff, I'm just going to jump over. Sorry, I'm just doing some developer cheats, so I don't want to show them real quick. Sorry. Okay, back to the game. So I just used a cheat to win the battle. We can pick cards. You may not have seen these cards before. We're not going to talk about them right now. All right, let's take these. Okay, good. So we got a Divine Temple here. You get it. It's a shared node. I think all of the new map nodes for the Last Divinity, if I'm remembering correctly, they're always shared. So regardless of the path that you take, you can always visit the Last Divinity node. Nicosi says, will there be less options because of shards, or will shards be an extra choice? They're always an extra choice, so there are not less options because of that. All right, so we've got a Divine Temple here. So this is the place where you can do unit synthesis. What do we have in our deck right now? Do we have any interesting units at all? No. All right, hold on. I'm going to cheat to give us some units. Give me 1 second. All right. What unit should we add to our deck? Anyone have any favorite unit from the base game. They want to see what the unit synthesis effect is. Let's see what chat says. I'll add that unit to the game, or to our deck currently. All right, we got a request for Consumer of Crowns and Shadow Siege. 2 big chunguses. All right, we'll go with those. Okay, let's jump back over. So now we've got those guys in our deck. We've got Consumer of Crowns and we've got Shadow Siege. So let's see what they do. All right, we're going to visit the Divine Temple. So this is a whole new location you can go to. And you've got multiple potential rewards that you can select. So this is the Engaging the Pact, is where you sacrifice a unit and absorb some kind of component of its abilities into another unit, which we'll look at in a second, but just to go over it. And then there are spell upgrades. There's always 2 offered here. And these are, the Pact Temple offers all new spell upgrades. Nothing that exists in the game. We've got the Purge Stone. Upgrade a spell with -1 Ember and adds Purge. So you can get it out of your deck completely if you want. And we've got the Twin Stone in this. There's more than this, so they're randomly chosen, just as everything is basically in Monster Train. Upgrade a spell to gain Create a Copy with Purge and +1 Ember when played. Spell Chain. You can keep copying your spells. All right. So each one of these has a shard cost associated with it. So 10, 15, and 25. So, if I, for example, took this and put it on Torch to get rid of it, then there we go. So now I've gotten 25 or 15 or whatever it was, 10 more shards, 10 more shards. But let's look at Engaging the Pact. Okay, so you first have to select a unit to sacrifice. So this is the unit that's going to be purged out of your deck, and then some component of its abilities, which is hand designed. It's not everything. It doesn't take every aspect of it. It's then going to be copied into another unit. So like if we were going to purge a Train Steward, sacrifice it, I should call it sacrifice it, which also purges, we will transfer +5 attack and +15 health onto the receiving unit. Let's look at what these other 2 units do. Consumer of Crowns, +10 attack, +4 health, and -3 Ember to the receiving unit. And Shadow Siege, +60 attack, +50 health, and +2 capacity. So I will say there's like a humongous amount of new things that we've designed that are coming with these unit synthesis effects. And we have some data, and we've been running a private beta for a while. We have some data and we've been tuning these things, but that's a big reason why we want to run a public beta, is to see basically how these different things are working for people, what is more compelling, has a better win rate, and so on, so that we can get a better understanding of where the balance should be for these things. So definitely excited to get this into your hands and get your feedback. Okay, we also have this like helper button. This appears kind of anywhere in deck view where you can just rapidly see these things. So if you just want to see them all because you're thinking about your deck, you can click this on and then you can see what they will do when they are synthesized. So why don't we synthesize Shadow Siege? We'll get rid of him. So he appears there to be sacrificed, and we'll merge him into Consumer of Crowns. There's a new tooltip when you do that. You can see on screen there it says plus Shadow Siege. You can see also it's on his card right there above his name. It's been merged in. So now we've got plus 60 attack, plus 50 health, and 2 extra capacity. Let's see what happens. So boom, we lose our Shadow Siege, and Consumer of Crowns receives the upgrade. So now we've got this wild Consumer of Crowns, 160, 90 stats, 5 capacity. Stealth 1596 says, can sacrifice a monster grant the ability to the other monster, or is it just stats? No, there's definitely abilities. So it looks like specifically Consumer of Crowns and Shadow Siege were only stat-oriented things, but no, a lot of them like add triggers and do all sorts of different things. I can't think of any like good examples off the top of my head, but let's use cheats again real quick. Let's add another card. So hold on a second. Let's add one of the imps. All right. Okay, I added Transcend Imp and Impish Scholar. Let's go to another one of these temples. Let's Let's make sure that all this is doing what I expect. Okay. Here we go. So let's look at here again. Let's engage the pact. So Impish Scholar will add a summon trigger to whoever receives the upgrade. Return a random consume spell to your hand, which is essentially what he normally does. So there's no stat transference at all in this particular one. It just moves this ability onto whatever card you want. Transcend Imp, who normally, when played, repeat all summon effects, currently adds Endless to whomever receives the upgrade from him. Snark Industries says, can you sacrifice multiple times onto a single unit? No, you cannot. So that's why, here, I'll just get rid of one of my Train Stewards. That's why I cannot choose my Consumer of Crowns to receive the upgrade here. So Train Steward plus Train Steward, double Steward, there we go. Now because of this, I'm now in the red territory for threat because I have 75 pack shards, but yeah, so Consumer of Crowns was not an option to receive that sacrificed Train Steward because he's already got one. So you can only do this once. A unit can only receive Synthesis one time. So this Train Steward can't take another Synthesis upgrade as well. So yeah, every single unit in the game has a uniquely designed, and we can change the design of any of these, and I'm certain that we will as we go through the balancing process of The Last Divinity. So yes, please give feedback on, if you're a player of the public test, please give feedback on how those are designed, what you like, what you don't like, what you think is overpowered, what you think is underpowered, and so on. And we will have a lot of time to work on the balance of that. Well, not a lot of time, but some time to work on the balance of that before the game comes out. So, yeah, just to reiterate for anybody who's joined the stream just now or recently, we are going to be running a public test of The Last Divinity starting tomorrow. I don't have an exact time. Basically, during our normal workday at Shiny Shoe, we're going to release the public test. That'll be announced on Discord, on Reddit, Twitter, all the normal social channels. And then it's going to run for the weekend, basically. So we'll probably take it down Sunday night Pacific time. So it'll be around 2.5 total days, 3 days or so, somewhere around there, of time you'll have with it to provide feedback and so on. Let's go to the Concealed Caverns just for fun. Let's see if we get one of the new events or if we get an existing one. All right, this is an existing one, but there are a bunch of new events in the pool. New things you can see here, new types of unique rewards, new cards that come out of the Concealed Caverns that are part of the kind of new clanless cards. So a bunch of new stuff. Fireworks says, so do I have to opt in for a beta program on Steam to enable the public beta? Yes. So we will post instructions. We've done this a number of times already. Basically, there is what's called a branch on Steam you need to change to. And what you do to switch to that is you basically right-click on the game on Steam, you go to Properties, then there's an area in there where you can change branches. So once we announce that it's available, you can go in there, just switch over, and then when it ends, you can just switch back to the normal game. So yeah, that's it. Easy. All right. Where was I? Merman Rogue 1. Question. How does it work if you sacrifice a unit with upgrades on it? I think they're just lost. I hope I'm not wrong on that. That would be ridiculous. But I'm like 99% sure you just lose them. I just don't do that, personally. If I've like put upgrades on a unit, I just avoid using it at the Divine Temple. But if someone from the dev team has got to be in chat. If I'm wrong on that, please post it. But I believe if you sacrifice a unit with merchant upgrades on it, that they're lost. Can your threat exceed 100? Yes, definitely. And you get more points for the more pack shards that you have. So, you know, to 100% maximize points, you want to take every single pack shard that you have the opportunity to get, because that will put you in a position to get more points. Though, that said, if you do that, the game's going to get far, far harder. I don't know. We keep changing the balance, so it's like, it's hard to say. Once we like kind of stop changing the balance so much, then it will be interesting to see who can get the highest kind of pack shard amount in a win. Of course, without trying to use any cheats and so on. I'll be curious to see that. That guy called Max. Is the shard number the percent chance the unit gets upgraded in fights? It's something like that. I can't say for sure. I think the game designers who are responsible for this are in the in Twitch chat, at least right now. So if you guys know, you can post it and let folks know. But it's something like that. It does affect a percent chance for a unit, any one unit. It's kind of evaluated independently to kind of have the chance of being upgraded to the kind of stronger version. Vecchio Mio, does having more than 100 shards increase the difficulty of the last secret boss? I don't know. I can't remember. Again, DC or Avram, if you guys are in the chat, please comment. I'm not 100% sure if it does or not. I think it does, though. All right. Speaking of, let's check out the last divinity. So, all right, let's see. Let's try to get to 100 shards real quick here. Looks like we can do it. We're just going to kind of randomly pick things. Oh, while I'm on this screen, we're still kind of like trying to figure out how to best indicate Divine Mastery, but Hidden Passage is an example of a card that I have Divine Masters. So there's this kind of like subtly moving holographic stamp of the last divinity behind the text. So we've been experimenting with a lot of different ways to represent this. Anyway, I'll be interested to hear feedback on that. All right, so there, we'll just kind of choose whatever here. Now we have 100 pack shards. I'm going to jump back the little cheaty cheat here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to rapidly... All right, well here, let's actually just go into this. This will be the way that we can show it more cleanly. Let's go. I'm going to go into the Seraph battle. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to cheat to win. Okay. All right, so this is what happens. There's like some new visual sequencing when you come back to the map once you've defeated Seraph. So let's just pretend that this is a run where I've defeated Seraph. So I'm going to continue on. What's this? I definitely was not expecting this to happen. This may be because I cheated, so something weird is happening. But this is one of the new Concealed Caverns events. I'm going to leave. I'm just going to leave. You can find out what this does in the public test. All right, here we go. We have enough shards. We can trigger the last divinity. All right. Either in victory or defeat, the divinity's endless destruction rages on. And so you can see the threat level only says 2, which you might be surprised to see considering I have 100. And that's because the threat level is relative to the ring of hell you are in. So, you know, having 20 shards at the first ring of hell might be threat level 4, but in later rings, it's less threat. So anyway, I don't have all the details on exactly how it works. So again, I think folks are posting it in chat there, but yeah, there's some you got to think about your shard management. Let's just put it that way. All right. Divine Intervention. This is the sin for this battle. Gain Shard of Divinity, which gives your pyre 100 armor. That seems good. Thank you, Last Divinity, for buffing me. But the Last Divinity gains attacks from your pyre the Last Divinity attacks your pyre every turn. Its damage increases for every 10 shards. So there you go. Yes, it does increase the threat level. The number of shards you have increases the direct threat of the Last Divinity. And of course, this thing that we're saying right here, that attacks your pyre every turn, is one of the unique mechanics of what the Last Divinity does. Let's go into the fight and see. We can look at more about how it's unique. All right, so that's just a reminder. We got some new music. All right. Here's something different already. The Last Divinity is in all rooms at all times. So unlike all other kind of, we call them like outer train flying bosses, the Last Divinity is in all rooms. That means you can hit him from all rooms. In each room, he also attacks all rooms every turn. he's got different abilities here. So in this room, say, okay, the top room of the train outside of the pyre, he's got Purify. Every single one of the rooms, he's got Purify. Purify, after a debuff deals damage to this unit, remove that debuff. He's got Sweep in this room. 7 damage attack. In this room, he's got Multi-Strike. In this room, he's got Trample. And so his attack stats would be increasing based on your number of pack shards. And on top of that, when I end turn, he attacks the pyre every single turn, no matter what. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so the damage was actually blocked by gold because of Golden Vault. But that's why we give you this Shard of Divinity here, we felt it was important to give you a little bit of extra survivability because of the fact that the Last Divinity is hitting you every single turn, guaranteed. You can't stop that. The Last Divinity does still end in Relentless. This was just something we changed recently. We've been experimenting with potentially this being like an endless battle, but felt that kind of made too many cards not as good as they could have been otherwise. So it is specifically like defensive oriented decks especially. So it is a battle that ends in Relentless, and ultimately if you get to that point, you haven't killed the Last Divinity, all the kind of other enemies are gone and so on. The Last Divinity will fight your pyre directly in a one-on-one fight between the pyre and the Last Divinity. All right, back to questions. So Dank Dad 56. All right, another dad. Has the majority of Monster Train been developed during COVID? You guys have been awesome at pumping releases out. Well, thank you. So I'd say no. So Monster Train started development in around October 2018. So where does that put us now? Yeah, maybe 1/3 of Monster Train has been developed under the kind of lockdowns. You know, I'm at my house right now. Normally, I would prefer to be working out of our office, not out of my house. But yeah, kudos to our team for sure for being able to stay effective working remotely and under these trying times. So thank you, developers at Shiny Shoe and folks that work with us. I'm glad that we've been able to keep a good steady stream of new content coming out. You know, we all love Monster Train, and we're super excited to share the Last Divinity with you as well. All right, a Drained. Does he technically count as 3 different bosses, or do debuffs on every part of his body affect his entire body, like Sapped and Dazed? All right, my designers in chat, please help answer that question correctly. I don't want to be wrong. So I know definitely behind the scenes it's technically counted as 3 different characters, but I don't know if we merge them in some unique way. So I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm sure we'll get the correct answer in chat. Vecchio Mio, does the Ultimate Divinity always have the Purity enchantment? As far as I know, yes, it does. So we definitely wanted it to feel like a unique and different and new type of threat that hadn't been seen before. He's got some interesting lore and some interesting things that he says. All of the enemies are coming in powered up. Apprentice of Light, you can see what these guys do. Clip Defender comes in with extra armor. Shade Wings have Multi-Strike 3 and increase stats. Definitely some high threat here, so you need to make sure that your deck is well suited to protect yourself from this additional threat. All right. I think that kind of goes over the majority of the new gameplay features and content. I'm happy to stay on the stream and continue to try to answer questions. But just to reiterate for anybody who's joining us, we are announcing today that the upcoming DLC expansion pack for Monster Train is called The Last Divinity. We don't have a release date yet, but you know, we want to get it out as soon as we can. It's fairly far along, as you can see in the stream we've just been showing. We are going to be running a public test that any owner of Monster Train on Steam can join in on. That'll be starting tomorrow, January 8th, sometime Pacific time during our normal workday. And it will be running through January 10th, I think, Sunday. Let me check the calendar. Yep, and then Sunday night Pacific time, we're going to be taking it down. So during that time, the content of the DLC will be freely available when you opt in to that public test. We think that's important to get valuable feedback. We want to continue to tune, fix bugs, and just really try to get the quality bar as high as we possibly can. And we really appreciate and value anybody's feedback who decides to participate in that. Yeah, so new clan, new final boss, a bunch of new game mechanics, new cards for existing clans, cat meowing in the background. We've got it all. We've got it all. All right, what other questions do folks have? I'm happy to hang out. We can jump back to the game. I can cheat around and show different things. Folks asking for wallpapers of this. I think we can post that. So let's run that. Let me run that by our friends at Good Shepherd on the marketing side and make sure that they're good with that. But I'm sure that we can release some of that type of stuff for folks that are interested in using it as wallpaper. I am using it as my wallpaper right now. All right, what else we got? Any other questions or things you want to see? I can jump around in the game and just point things out. I figure at this point, basically, since we're doing a public test tomorrow, we can pretty much look at anything today because players are going to be able to see all that stuff in the very near future anyways. All right, let me grab my question sheet over here. All right, Ken, all right. More petting. Hey, don't punch me. Getting punched over here. Uh-oh, my camera froze. See if that recovers. There we go. All right. Well, hey, I mean, if there's no other questions about what's going on, we're all just super excited to get the last Divinity out there to people. All right, Adrian says, can we look at the Wormkin clan card list? Sure. Let's look at the logbook. There are a couple of changes here on this page. So there's obviously a new Wormkin button for filters, and there's also a new mastery filter. You can also filter for which cards you have divine mastered, since that's a new category. So yeah, there's 40-something new cards in the Wormkin clan. Here is a sample of them. I really think this card looks cool. Accelerated incubation. All right, yeah, Sloy and Groltaj want to look at the upgrade paths for the new champs. Yeah, I think we can. Let's do that. All right. We don't have time to one by one talk about every single card, but I'll page through real quick. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's more fun just to discover them. There's like a balance here. Like, let's leave this as a teaser. There's 40-something new cards. You do have to unlock the Wormkin. I cannot remember off the top of my head what the unlock criteria is. It's something that's not that hard, though. It's definitely, like, anybody who's been playing Monster Train will have it unlocked immediately. If you are just bought it and then come to the public test, you might have to play a little bit more. And then it's got a full 10 levels, and you unlock cards as you go, just like the original clans. All right, let's see if we can look at the... we can look at the new card frames. I apparently don't have them, but... they're pretty hard to get, but there are 3 new card frames here. Achieve Divine Victory with all clans as your primary clan. Complete 25 expert challenges with Divine Victories. So that's something new that we also track for the completionist. Basically, if you have already completed the 20 expert challenges, well, now there's 20. We added 5 more, so there's 25 now. And we also independently track if you've gotten a Divine Victory on an expert challenge. So Divine Victory on Blighted Existence could be interesting. And then this is the crazy one. Achieve Divine Victory at Covenant 25 with all clan combinations. That takes some work. Folks in the private beta have accomplished all of these, so we know they're possible. All right. Have there been any changes? Karmic Guide asks, have there been any changes to the new creatures in the other clans and the spells for Melting Remnant? The answer is yes. There have been some balance changes for the existing 5 clans. I don't think there's been a ton. Hopefully we'll have all of those with nice patch notes by tomorrow when we release the public test. So we will see. All right. There we go. We can look at the spine sheaf first. So we've got the Decayer path, the Corrupt path, and the Infector path. The Decayer path is all about the Inspire trigger. It's a new trigger specific to Wurmkin. Triggers when charged echoes are added to the floor for each one added. And it adds Reap, which is kind of a damage based on the number of charged echoes. Got the Corrupt. Friendly units get plus 20 attack per charged echo at level 3. And we've got the Infector. It's got multi-strike, and when you strike, you gain a charged echo. A way to build them. A way to capitalize on them. And a way to get damage when they are added. So, pretty interesting, kind of sweet variety of ways to use charged echoes. All right. We'll look at Echo Rite. Here we go. Echo Rite is it's even crazier in some ways. We've got the Shellsmith. Summon bounding echoes to your hand and an etch trigger. So bounding echoes is a card, and etch is a trigger that triggers when a card is consumed on this floor. So triggers off of consume. Interesting. All right, we've got the Marsh Lord path. When you summon Echo Rite, a Bog Chrysalis with plus 20 health is summoned, which is a card in the Wurmkin, which has Shell, which if you haven't seen that before, that's another new thing that's Wurmkin specific. It's basically an egg that can hatch and then other units pop out of it. And when you etch, you remove shell from eggs. So it kind of combines with different egg-like creatures that have shell. And the Repeater, it's got Resolve, return a random consumed spell to your hand. So nice for comboing, and at level 3, return 2 random spells. Nice for comboing with Etch. Rossum Twitch asks, what is my favorite synthesis? And my answer is, I don't know. They've changed so many times that I don't think I have a comprehensive kind of view of that yet, and I need to personally spend more time playing the game to be able to answer that. So ask me again in a week or two. All right. Is there anything else folks want to see again? Well, you don't want to see my face. Let's go back to the key art. There we go. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. All right, I got a few more minutes. Can answer any other questions anybody's got about The Last Divinity. Or at least I can try to. All right. Well, I am going to wrap it up here then. So, reminder. Darkest Tempest. Why did you have to say that? I'm just kidding. What's Titan Sentry giving on synthesis? I don't know. You're going to have to find out in the public test tomorrow. All right. So thank you, everybody. Monster Train, The Last Divinity. We don't know when it's going to launch yet. Hopefully soon. But we are doing a public test starting tomorrow. It's going to run for 2.5 days or so. We will announce on Discord, Reddit, Twitter, all the normal channels when it is available. If you're on Steam and you own the game, you'll be able to opt into it from the Betas tab. But anyways, we'll post instructions for how it works. As 6th Clan, the Wurmkin, as the Last Divinity, the new true final boss, that adds a bunch of new artifacts, Concealed Caverns events, new cards in the existing clans, Divine Mastery, new expert challenges, new mutators. There's a ton of new stuff, so it's definitely not just a new clan. It really feels like an expansion pack. It really increases the total number of strategic possibilities with features like unit synthesis. So yeah, we're super excited to get it out to you and very much looking forward to feedback. So thank you very much for being with me here today. And yeah, hope to see you in the public test starting tomorrow. Thanks, and until next time, bye.